Today on this Warhammer 40k competitive battle report, if you're wondering how the Necron Awakened Dynasty match up against the new Orc detachment, Dakka, you're going to want to stick around because this is probably going to be one of the juiciest post-game battle reports I've ever done. It's going to be hard to keep this under 20 minutes. It's probably getting close to 30, but if you're still here, basically I'm going to be taking this 3-hour game, condensing it down into 20-30 minutes, giving you all the juicy things that happened, what worked, what didn't work, what we learned. There are so many lessons from this game, and I usually don't post on the weekend, but I'm so excited to talk about this that we're here right now, and let's freaking get into it. Okay, so we are playing on Lichpin today. If you don't know Lichpin, it's hold 3 for your home and then 5 points for the midfield. And then we are playing on Crucible of Battle, so diagonal deployment, as you can see here. And I am going to flip over to the lists, and I'm not going to go over it line by line, but if you want to screenshot it and just take a look, you can do that because I want to make sure that we're just moving things along here. Okay, so let's go into the game here. So this was a crazy tight 1-point game, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh, can I tell you? There were like 10 different things that we both probably wish we would have done differently, and that's the beautiful part about Warhammer. And Ken is a local player here. He is an OG Orc player. And he just a pleasure to play, extremely good. He only plays orcs, so he was like the perfect person to get a rep into with this new detachment. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is crazy strong. I know there have been parallels on the internet right now, like comparing this to Star Shatter when it first came out. And yes, you know, in some ways I would agree, but the problem is with this detachment is it does arguably probably more damage, and they just have so much stuff, okay? And yeah, I mean, I could go on and on, but it's going to be interesting to see how GW changes this because, you know, it definitely needs to be changed. But let's get in this report here. So we have Lichpin, and the biggest thing that I want to talk about before we even get going in the game here is the firing lanes. Okay, so mainly what I'm looking for here in the first go is I really want to make sure that I'm staying safe from this line here, as you can see from the king. I would also like to preface that, you know, granted, yes, we are talking about like orcs and necrons today, but even if you play any other army, the way that these reports are put together, I hope you really get a lot of value out of it, no matter what army you play, because I'm just talking about a lot of macro perspectives that are going to be very transferable to, again, any other army. You play T-Suns, you play Marines, you play Tau. These should all be transferable. So please stick around. Glad you're here watching. So first thing I'm doing is I'm usually drawing out my firing lanes. And a lot of times I'll use these with like sticks, so I know exactly where my units are going to be safe. And 6 is a really good example of this because it has these kind of crazy you know, firing lines, right? So we're making sure, like, you know, he can't move his truck up here, tag these guys. We're making sure that, you know, he can't move like some tank buses over here and like just kill my Scorpec Lord on the first turn. These are very, very important things to measure out before you deploy, especially with a super powerful shooting army like Dakka. Okay, now, one thing here is the flayed ones. Now, you're probably like, yo, why did you not put them behind the wall? Okay, so with Dakka, what you're going to have to worry about is they have 1 CP to have 20 Gretchen most of the time. You're going to see Zodrog and 20 Gretchen in every Dakka list right now. There's no reason not to take that unit. Mainly because if they get first turn, they could spend a CP, put them into WA, and just jam them right in your deployment zone. Who cares, right? So because he didn't have any infiltrators, it allowed me to deploy flayed ones at the end. And the reason for this is so that I can see where Zodrog's unit is going to go to prevent his scout moves. So what you're going to see here is because I go first, just by having the flayed ones there, you're going to see that it pushes. Oh, this was before the screening happened. So he goes there, and then it pushes his screen back because he doesn't want the flayed ones to connect with Gretchen, which is super smart. Now, what I end up doing is we're going to go first here. And unfortunately, we get a lot of dead draws. I draw Overwhelming Force, bring it down. I cycle Overwhelming Force, and I get no prisoners. And I'm like, well, nothing like getting 3 kill secondaries on the first turn. But what are you going to do? So we get a big old goose egg on secondary first turn, which is not a good start. If you've seen some of my previous videos, you really if you get a 0 on secondary the first turn, because there's a lot that are very easy to score when you go first outside the kill secondaries. It does put you in a tough spot just because bottom of turn scoring is still pretty strong in this game. So that was a tough one. But we're gonna stage up here. And I'm going to fast forward here to basically this is the end of turn 1. So explaining a couple things that happen here. So the Warriors are going to be auto advancing 6, so they're going to be moving 11. And you're noticing here that we are intentionally not going on the point. Okay. Now, the reason for this is because Ludas get full hit rerolls on objectives. And the thing is that he cannot afford to not shoot the Warriors this turn. Like, he has to tag them with something, right? So it's probably going to be the boys unit, which you'll probably see here in a second. And because of that, then it gives me the flexibility to then reanimate on the objectives later. So trying to essentially deny his Luda ability, because that will do some decent damage into the Warriors. And it's not something that I really want. And in hindsight, that is not what exactly happened. Again, there's so many things that went wrong on both sides in this game. But we stage up Xeris, we stage up the Hexmark. He is essentially screening out this here. Now let me do a line here. So he's screening out this objective here, right? 18 inches. So if he fires, or if he gets on the objective, he can, do some Overwatch. He can shoot back if he shoots the Warriors. So some good synergies there. King is just going to stay put. If you don't know, if you haven't heard already, probably 1 unit of tank busts can almost kill a King. I mean, it's ridiculous. The one unfortunate thing that happened this turn is I rolled a 1 on the advance on the Scorpec Lord. This is the one with the Feel No Pain. And unfortunately, that was not going to be able to put him far enough to be out of line of sight. I would have loved to put him, all I needed, I think, was like a 2, because I was trying to prevent this truck from moving here and getting a line here. So unfortunately, they had to stay put, which was kind of that was a tough one as well. I almost wish I would have CP rerolled that, but I in hindsight already spent a CP to actually spent a CP to cycle. That's what it was. So I didn't even have any CP. So anyway, so that's the end of my turn. The flayed ones do not charge. Now the reason the flayed ones don't charge here is because if I charge the trucks, he's gonna heroic intervene with the Gretchen, and with Makari they probably pick up the flayed ones. And I think there's more value here just move blocking the trucks and these assets than just getting a charge off. Okay, so that was my thought process there. I guess I could have maybe tried to do like a crazy charge on the Gretchen, but then it would have been really hard to like base them all, and tough to say. But maybe that there might have been a little bit of a better play here. Okay, so going into bottom of 1, there we go. Let's see what this. Okay, so this is what the board state looks like here. So bottom of 1, he also gets not some good secondaries. So he's getting Assassination and Mark for Death. Those are going to be 2 dead draws for him, and he's more or less going to stage everything up. And Ken is a super smart player. He doesn't shoot anything at the Warriors. He lines a 4-inch charge up with these guys right here into the. So he's got a 20 unit of boys with a war boss in there. 80 attacks if they all connect, and they're hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s in the wall because he popped the wall on him. So he rolls he needs a 6. He rolls a 5. He CP rerolls it into a 3. So unfortunately, the Warriors, or he does not connect with the Warriors on the charge, which was unfortunate. So they're just sitting there. But then as well, that also denies my primary because they didn't connect. Because I was expecting something to connect. So I'm getting a 3 on primary. I'm like, no, man. I was like, I kind of wanted them to actually like make the charge, but he's like, oh. So on the next turn, we're going top of 2 now. I get Cull the Horde and Cleanse. Now, the really unfortunate part is if this unit would have made the charge, it probably would have put me in a much better position to actually get Cull the Horde. But from where they were in the line of sight lines, I was like, there is no way I'm going to have enough output, even potentially with the King, to get through 20 bodies with a 5-up invul. So I spent a CP, we cycle Cull, and we get Extend Battle Lines, which wasn't bad. So I knew that I couldn't cleanse with the Warriors this turn because I needed to start whittling down this Orc Boys resource. So they weren't going to be cleansing, and potentially this unit, but I wanted to save them for the tank busters, right? So we're kind of holding these assets here. So basically what happens on my turn here is I'm going to fast forward. And we drop in both Locust Destroyers, okay, which I love in this this list because they push back the screen, which is really nice, and they provide a really nice move block. So I prevent this whole, like, this truck and all these assets here can only go up to here, and then same thing over here. And the really nice part is that on this layout specifically, it's wholly within 6, and you can clip the edge of this marker. So I'm still able to get Extend Battle Lines and Cleanse off this one Locust Destroyer. Well, I guess technically the Warriors are doing it, but really nice little tech piece I like there that's been working out really well in games. So we are going to shift out the King. This is probably the first biggest error of the game for me. I thought about this move so hard, and I should have just listened to my gut and just not move him. But at the same time, like, I didn't. Again, where the Warriors were, or sorry, where the boys were, I just didn't have enough output to get them. So I'm like, all right, well, if maybe I can like thread this needle here and just target them, it's going to make it a little bit harder for him to get the bustas out. But you guys are gonna see here what exactly happens. It's good. It's good. All right, so King's gonna fire at the boys. Xeris is drawing a line to the boys. Hexmark is drawing a line to the boys. The Warriors are all firing at the boys. This Scorpec Lord is all firing at the boys. And then that's it. So the Silent King spends his 2 Minears. He pops this Rhino, and then everything else is going to go at the boys. So you're going to see that play out here. And that is essentially the end of turn 2 for me. The Scorpec Lord unfortunately fails his charge on the Flash Gits. Probably learning up there. I maybe should have waited and just not even gone after the Flash Gits and spent a CP reroll, because I think it was like an 8-inch charge to the Flash Gits even when they were at full health. Maybe it was a 7. So there's a couple things I kind of fudged up there a little bit. But I will say that one thing that felt really good is the solo. I specifically ran the Scorpec Lords, as you're seeing here, detached from all the Scorpec units, specifically because the Scorpec Lords can come out. Either they have to waste an Overwatch to go after the Scorpec Lord, and then even if they kill him, I spend a CP, I bring them back, and they've wasted their Overwatch for the turn, and then I still charge, or he just gets free movement. So it's almost like a win-win. That was a really good tech choice I liked against this matchup, to be completely honest, is because the Scorpec Lord is usually enough to kill their units anyway. Well, like Flash Gits, not like a 10-man unit of Ludas. But the thing is, if a Scorpec Lord connects with the Ludas, you don't need to kill them, because at the end of the day, if the Ludas fall back, they can't fall back and shoot unless they're running that enhancement. So if they're tagged, you still get really good value out of it. So going into bottom of 2 here, and again, this one's going to be a little bit longer today just because I really want to go in depth on this because it's a new detachment, and there's just a lot of good stuff that happens. So bottom of 2, he gets Bring It Down and Recover Assets. So you can see he scored 6 points on Bring It Down. And spoiler alert, the ARC and the Reanimator are not worth 6 points. But there is another vehicle on the table that is. So Let's get into it here. So we're going to see this board state play out here. So essentially, this is his go turn, bottom of 2. He's coming out to play. Ludas everywhere. He's got a unit of 10 Ludas, 2 units of 5 tank bustas. He's bringing the boys unit over here and the truck, which was super clutch, because what I really wanted to do is actually drop a hex mark here out of ingress. So I was hoping maybe these assets would keep this back, but he shifted. He originally shifted these resources over here, but he's like, let me put these guys over here, actually. So that was a really good move on his part. And then, yeah, so the tank bustas are going to connect here. And I hate to say it, guys. That's all it took. Just, just 2. I mean, 1 unit alone almost killed the king. But so 2 units of tank bustas kill the king. 6 points I'm bringing down. To add insult to injury, Deadly Demise explodes. And if you're wondering what the king's Deadly Demise is, it's D6 plus 3 mortal wounds. So, yeah, it was not good. So killed like 4 warriors, killed a Scorpec and a half, almost killed the Hexmark. Thank God. I rolled a 1. That was like huge. I was like, you were literally like on a 2-up. I just killed the freaking Hexmark. And Xeris took, I think, like 2 wounds. So, and then this Scorpec took like, 4 wounds. It was great. So I literally just did like 20 mortal wounds to myself in the process. So yeah, just, I not doing that again. So yeah, going in. So here we go. So he's going to charge in. Okay. So, he's going to hit here. So here's a really good things to talk about. So he's connecting here. Tank buses, Ludas, all of that is charging here. Makes sense. Even Makari's unit is charging here. Okay. Now, when I'm looking at this here, the biggest thing that I'm trying to do is I know that he is probably going to kill all of these warriors. Okay. Now, Ken is smart, and he's going to charge at the jugular right here. Now, this is why we're keeping these assets back here, is because we need to heroic intervene, right? And the reason for this is so what you're going to see here. So let's back up here. So these are going to connect here, and you're going to notice this Scorpec Lord is going to connect right over here, okay? Reason for this is because I need, basically, the really important thing with warriors is, and this is only going to come with reps, is you need to almost visualize where the unit is going to be after your turn. Easier said than done, but if you don't do that, it's really easy to screw up where you need to pull. And so for me, I'm visualizing, I'm like, okay, if he kills all of this, I'm just going to have to live with it. But I need to make sure I kill here to basically keep the warriors out of combat, all right? So the Scorpec Lord comes in. We're going to see this unfold, okay? And you're going to see exactly how this happens, okay? So at the end of the turn, we basically stay outside of 7 inches here. So basically, and we keep, here was the other big thing too. I keep 1 warrior here to make sure that this unit can't like pile in on the objective or shift more this way. So you just like keep them stuck right there, which is what I wanted because we're basically lining up a free charge on these assets the next turn, okay? So we keep all of these assets here, okay? Wow, that'll be good for the video. I just completely like. Oh man. Okay, we're good. That was fine. All right. So going into the turn, top of 3, we're gonna get a 3 on primary again, and then we get area denial and sabotage. This was probably the 3rd mistake of the game. Definitely should have just cycled this. I was sitting at, I think, 3 CP. Yeah, I was sitting at 3 or 2 CP at the start of the turn. So maybe that was why, because I wanted to save it for rezzing a character. But I probably should have cycled area denial. Because I realistically knew I wasn't going to score it. I knew I needed to kill as much as I could here. But realistically, that wasn't going to happen. So we're going to shift up. We need to have a big clapback turn. And we do for the most part. So we're going to clean up these assets here. This truck is like a wash here. We kill all the Scorpex are going to come out, connect here. Scorpec Lord's going to connect here. Xeris is going to connect here. I charge the Warriors in actually as well because I do need to get more OC on the point just in case one of these goes wrong. It's kind of like that insurance policy that I talk about from previous reports where you can't just bake on all of this dying. You need to make sure you have enough OC on the point. Okay, so and I think actually if I didn't charge those Warriors in, yeah, the way that panned out, you're going to see here that was the board state at the bottom or top of 3. Okay. So we didn't get area denial, and then we're going to pass it over to him. So we're in bottom of 3, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so he's going to get an 8 on primary because he holds his natural expansion in his home. And he's going to get behind enemy lines and extend battle lines. So this is a pretty good pull this turn, and you're going to see the problems of losing the king in turn 2 starting to unfold here. Because the one nice thing about the king is that he is kind of like this... this barrier from keeping any assets coming this way because, I mean, he's durable and he hits super hard in combat. So now that we've lost that, it kind of opens up the door for Makari's unit to swing over to this this side of the table, right? So going into the turn, we're going to fast forward here. We save a Hex Mark. He's going to spend a CP for Overwatch, and then he's going to Overwatch again in the fight phase before they come in. Unfortunately, he just did not roll very well. And then the 5 of Pinballs on Gretchen, who knew? It's really good. So I think he only ended up on between both Overwatches. I think he only killed like 5 models, maybe, I think, or 5 Gretchen. It was not good. I was hoping for more, but I was like, all right, let's figure this out here. So he's going to shift up here. Let me see. So he's going to charge in. And this is really technical. So again, he's moving in. This is why I love this game so much. Man, it was such a technical game in the best way. So he's coming in here with Makari's unit. He's looking to deny my home field now, okay? So we're moving in. We're going to see his pile-ins and consolidates. You're going to see him attack the Warriors. Now I'm going to start rezzing Warriors on the objective. Now here is one really important thing with the Ghost Arc, okay? So the Ghost Arc wording is just after. So in this exact situation, it is super important to know these rules because when the Gretchen hit, they're going to kill Warriors. The Ghost Arc's ability is going to trigger before consolidation happens, meaning that you can fill in more space on the point before he can actually consolidate. So that's exactly what we're doing here, where you can see me filling in Warriors on this point before he actually shifts over, okay? So that was huge. Unfortunately, I think I could have taken this point over. The 4th error of the game was I should have piled in also into this unit here, and I think I would have been able to take this point over. I think for sure I would have been able to take it over. Because of the fact that the Gretchen only killed like 1 warrior, so I couldn't trigger the strat. But if I piled in to this mech unit up here, they would have had to swing on the warriors specifically so I could trigger my strat, and then I can res more models back here to take over the point. But unfortunately, I could not do that. I think I had like 16 OC on there, and he had 19 at the end, so he ended up taking my home field from me, which was that. There were so many things where that was the game right there, where I could have maybe edged it out 1 because that saved him like 8 points. Because now I'm only scoring 3 points. He turned my 13-point primary turn into 6 by this play right here, and by me not piling in here. I think I could have saved it there, but I just didn't do it. So good learning opportunities there for me. So going into my turn, top of 4, we're going to get a 6 on primary. Unfortunately, we were hoping for the 13, but didn't happen. And we get engage in all fronts and defend stronghold. So definitely can get engaged for 2. I was looking for Xeris potentially to eventually move like over this way, but there's no way I could get that. So we're just going to get baby engage, and defend is going to be easy because these Gretchen are going to die. So basically this turn, what we're looking to do is we're going to connect the Scorpex over here. This Scorpec Lord's going to go over this way. Xeris is going to fire over here at these tank busters because these tank busters are basically just out of the game. because Xeris has blown up, and then Xeris is going to come over. He's going to come over here and kill these guys in melee for the most part. So that's what the turn's looking like. We're going to fast forward here, and you're going to see that unfold. So that's more or less what happens. So bottom of 4, he's going to get an 8 on primary again, and he's going to get area denial and established locus. So that was a good pull, at least for me, because I got Xeris in the center and Warrior, so there's just no way he's going to get area denial. And I will say, throughout the game, he was very CP starved. Like, I will say, this detachment, especially if you're wanting to use the WA and you're wanting to use Overwatch and stuff, like, it was definitely, like, I don't think I ever saw him, even with the Gretchen CP farm, I don't think I ever saw him more than, like, 2 CP the entire game. It was good CP management, but he definitely were points where he wished he would have had one and he didn't. So that was one thing to point out, I guess, with this detachment. But we're going to fall back here. The 2 hex marks are right here, so he's going to move up. And he's going to try to do as much damage to the warriors as possible. And he's going to charge these Gretchen into the Scorpex. Tank buses are going to charge into here. And this is kind of like his one last-ditch effort to try to get rid of the warriors, but you guys have been here long enough that that is easier said than done. So, and so, yeah, he tries to pull here. We're pulling this out. And, yeah, this is basically the bottom of 4. The Warriors end up surviving. I am going to hold all 3 of these points at the end, which was really good. So we got a 13 on primary, and we get a super clutch pull of containment and secure. So an easy 6 points on contain. We're going to contain with this Locust Destroyer and then this hex mark back here. And then the Scorpex. So the one thing I was trying to do was potentially, I picked up my hex mark with the Veil at the end of the game to drop him potentially back here somewhere, because it's like, oh, okay, maybe I could do like a desperate escape and, take this point in this sticky off of him. And this is the other thing that just went wrong. I rolled my desperate escape, 3 1s and 2s, killed the entire Scorpic unit. I'm like, oh my God, man. Because basically what I wanted to do was, as long as I just fail one of them, I could fall back here, like out of line of sight, and have OC on this objective to deny his sticky. And then I could drop a hex mark back here to kill the flash gets. So then the only thing he could get on the objective would be the truck for OC2, and I'm OC4. And so, and I don't know if the flash gets could have gotten like a lane on there, and I would have been able to deny his home. But like, again, so many things went wrong. I'm like, bro, I guess I could have CP rerolled one of them, but I needed realistically OC4 on there was the problem, because the truck is OC2. So I was like, all right, averages, I'm going to fail one of those, but I failed all 3, dude. So if you're wondering why all the Scorpex died, they're gone, man. They're gone. So that was unfortunate. But hey, that's Warhammer. So, yeah, so we just dropped the hex mark back here. At that point, I was like, okay, we'll just speed this along here. And, yeah, this was the end of the game, more or less here. So, he's going to get 8 on primary. He's going to get defend at the end and secure, and he squeaks out the victory. So kudos to Ken. Very well done. And man, I'm extremely happy with how I did. Certainly there were quite a few things that, like, if I get this matchup again, like, I know like what to do, but granted, there were quite a few things that went wrong on his side too, especially those like boys unit failing their charge turn 1. It would have been interesting to see like how the game panned out if they would have made the charge. But overall, I think I think Awaken is probably like our one shot against this detachment. I'm going to be completely honest. I feel very good about this list, and especially because this detachment, everybody is like, it is so good. So just being able to like hang in there with this detachment, and knowing that, hey, I can some way somehow actually pull out a victory against this makes me feel good. So because I know there are a lot of armies right now that definitely cannot say the same. Like there are just certain armies, like I have no idea how they even compete with this right now in its current state. So which is kind of a feels bad. Like, I really do hope they hotfix a couple things. I don't know exactly what they're going to do. I feel like I feel like a nice balance would still give them assault. Maybe it's just sustained 1, and they like the WA strat is 2 CP. Like I feel like maybe that's like a nice like halfway point or something. But something's got to change with this because it is like the damage. It is just so crazy, man, and they just have so much stuff. There's so much stuff, but. Anyways, yeah, if you stuck around this long, appreciate you watching. I know it's a little bit longer than usual, but you're just going to have to deal with it because there's a lot of good stuff that happened in this one. But I'm going to link 2 videos up top, and we will catch you in the next one. Appreciate you sticking around.